welcome to yet another episode of the MT Agroeco Tales. My name is Thomas Malunda. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, I see lots of guys who view this content, but you don't subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel such that you don't miss out any of the episodes that we release. I met a number of guys since we released the last video. The feedback was awesome. People appreciated what we shared. So today we are going to be continuing from there with Rogers. So we are going to talk about the legal considerations that you gotta know. But the second episode, the other first episode was talking about the tenure systems, and we say that those that you should consider include freehold, private milo, and customary, though it's better to consider the first two rather than customary. Then we also spoke about how to ensure that the interest you are buying in land is legitimate. Rogers told us how you can ascertain that. So today we're going to start from there. We're going to go into business names and companies. So when you start production, when do you determine to register? Like, what should you consider to register that enterprise as either a business or a company? And also the things that you produce on the farm, what should you do in case you want to make sure that they belong to you, that you have some sort of ownership on them? What should you do? So that's what Roya is going to be talking about today. But still, before we go into that, we are shooting from MT Agroeco Farm on Busse Island, and today we are in the forest section. So we have a lot of fruit trees in here, like cocoa, which is growing up. We have jackfruit, we got mangoes. Very soon I'll be taking a tour around such that you see all this. But also we have stuff that you can see, like the bitter berries here. We call them katunkuma. In Luganda, we have this medicinal plant called umluluza in Luganda. It's used in fighting malaria.
Yes.
When we used to get sick in the villages, okay, even where I grew up from, my mother used to get this plant here, and it's so bitter. It helps to get rid of malaria in the body. We have, the tree tomato there, what we call a chinyanya in Luganda. So quite a number of plants that are growing, and like I mentioned in the first episodes, this entire farm is at the stage of being set up. So the different plants and trees are just growing. But anyway, we are in that section today. Of course, we have birds singing. They are going to be complementing the discussion that is going to be taking place on the law. So, Rogers, you're welcome once again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. So let's start on it. Somebody has a farm. The farm has crops, animals, and they feel like they would now want to begin trading.
Yeah.
But they are wondering, should I register it or not?
Okay.
From a legal perspective, what should they do?
All right. So the first consideration is, there's a principle in that book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Steve Covey. And the principle is begin with the end in mind. So as a person who is into agriculture, as a person who wants to produce for the public, what do you have in your vision? Now that's very important, because formally speaking, you can do business in about 3 ways: as a company, as a partnership, or as a sole proprietor doing it solos.
Yeah.
And so the way you want to do your business will determine the vehicle you're going to use. Okay. And in your SB, well, there's some things I've not mentioned, like NGOs and trusts. I'll hint on those slightly, but so in URSB is the Uganda Registration of Services Bureau.
Yeah.
There are about 2 ways you can formalize your interest. One is as a company. That one I've talked about. Like, you're doing it as a company, you need to register your business as a company. And to, you need to reserve a name first. And reserving a name involves you submitting to the registrar of companies the options of the names that you intend to use. And there are usually 3 options. And the registrar, upon reception of that application, will choose one name. But what do they consider before choosing that name? There is something called likelihood of confusion. One, they need to make sure that your name is not similar or is not the same as an already existing name in the registry. So they will do a search.
Yeah.
Which, of course, when you get a lawyer or any professional, a lawyer still,
No running away from lawyers.
nothing. Now, when you get a lawyer, they're supposed to do the search for you. And they'll make sure to check whether that name is already in the system or whether there is an already existing name in the system.
Yeah.
Now, once they have done their due diligence and they have confirmed in their opinion that that name has at least an 80% chance of succeeding, they will apply to the registrar of companies.
Yeah.
Now, when that registrar receives that name, they will also check now in the system. And they check again whether that name is already being used or it is likely to confuse. The principle of likelihood of confusion.
Yeah.
You have Kampala University and you have Kampala International University. They sound the same. There's Kampala at the beginning and university at the end.
Yeah.
And to an ordinary person, a reasonable man would think that it's the same thing, it's the same company, it's the same person. So
Yeah.
to avoid that, and of course there was a case, by the way, where they sued the Register of Companies for, the Kampala University versus Kampala International University. They were suing that, you've stolen our name.
Yeah.
So to avoid such reoccurrence of such incidents, they have placed in place some, structures to avoid that. So yes, you apply, you put in your names, the 3 options, and it's not mandatory. You can even just put one if you're sure that one will not, is not similar to any existing name.
Yeah.
So yes, they will get back to you and tell you whether your name is available or it's already similar. And when it's similar, they will tell you which name it is similar to and why you should get another name.
Yeah.
So process is like the longest, because most times you check here and find that, you didn't address your mind to the fact that there is Kampala University but there's Kampala International University.
Yeah.
Or you want to do Keeya Tires but there is Keeya Tire Companies Limited, or Keeya suppliers and manufacturers of tires. And because in the system you put Keeya Tires, the suppliers doesn't come. So it's a bit lengthy, but when they get back to you and your application has been successful, you proceed to now filing the other forms of, the forms of as regards to the beneficial owners. If it's a company limited by shares, the shares of the directors, the forms as to the directors, their names, their details, and all the other forms like PO Box. If it's limited by guarantee, the amount of money these people guarantee to pay at the end of the lifetime of the company. Yes. And it goes without saying that a company can be limited by shares or limited by guarantee. By shares, because you intend to have shareholders. And so each shareholder comes with a particular amount of shares that is converted into money, which is like the share capital. Then for guarantee, it's the amount of money that the members, the directors at this point, because the first members of the company become the directors of the company. Now, it is the amount of money that those members guarantee to pay at the end of the lifetime of the company, when the company cannot afford to pay its debts. At that point, they will squeeze money from any avenue they can. If the company has assets, they'll sell them. They'll also come to you who guarantee to pay an amount of money, and they'll ask for that money at that particular point in time. That's the company. And at the end of that whole process, they'll give you a certificate of incorporation. And we usually frame that, we print it out, frame it, and put it at the wall of the office to show that the company has actually been registered. Now, for a business name, same process. You need to reserve your name, same process. However, this time, instead of putting company, you say, I'm reserving the name for a business. And like we have said, a business name can be either for a partnership, 2 people coming together to do business with the aim of making profit. Or a sole proprietorship, 1 person doing business, solos. Those 2 people can be registered as a business name. So yes, the business name covers those two categories.
Yeah.
And once your name has been approved, the application for the reservation of the name has been approved, then you fill the necessary paperwork, which is the business registration form that details the business you're doing and the details of the owners of the business. For example, if it's a partnership, the details of the partners. If it is a sole proprietorship, the details of the sole proprietor. Then the national ID is attached.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, you'll get a business name certificate of registration. But you call it a certificate of registration. You still hang it on the wall to prove that you registered your business name.
Yeah.
Yes.
So whoever is watching us could be thinking, okay, which direction should I take? Should I go for the business name registration or should I go for the company registration? What should they consider to make an informed decision?
That's a very good question, because like I said in the beginning, you have to consider that you have to look at the end from the beginning. How do you say it? You consider
start with the end in mind.
Yes, start with the end in mind. You're very attentive.
Yeah.
So you start with the end in mind. Now, the most ultimate considerations I consider are two. My two considerations. Okay, three. One, obviously, a company is more expensive to register than a business name. So, if at the start of your business, you cannot afford to register a company, then the business name is cheaper. Two, a company has more benefits considered compared to a business name. For example, when you register a company, we call it a corporate body. The Latin word, the derivative for corporate is corpus, which means body. So these companies are bodies, and they're corporate entities. They're like other human beings. Like two people come together, they make a baby, man and woman. Now, also when you're into business, you can have your own baby, a company. And the difference between the babies, the natural babies, and the artificial entities like companies is that human beings cannot technically own property before they make the age of 18. There are limitations, like you're not a legal adult yet until you're 18. But for a company, and I said technically, for a company, from the moment you get your certificate of incorporation onwards, you can buy a piece of land, put it in the names of your company. You can buy a car in the names of your company. You can do sorts of things, so many things that you can do as a human being now in the names of the company. And so it can be likened to a citizen, a human being. Okay, so it can own land, it can get a loan from the bank. It can trade. It can sue. It can be sued. And you've seen it so many times. Bank of Uganda versus, not actually, no. Bank of Baroda versus, DFCU versus, what other? Coca-Cola versus. While as a business name, you cannot sue or be sued. They will sue you as an individual. Because the concept of corporate veil applies only to companies. That they have a corporate veil, they have become now a body. When you just a business name, they have to identify you as a person. Now, the third benefit of having a company is, the third consideration, whether we just a company or a business name, is who do you intend to trade with? Okay? Now, big companies and government have what they call procurement processes. So they have procurement to procure assets, to buy, and they have disposal to sell off the ones I don't need. Now, for big companies, for example, here on this farm we have cocoa. And so if you intend to supply Coca-Cola, those companies have a formal process of bidding. And for you to attach, one of the bidding documents will always be a certificate of incorporation. They prefer to deal with registered companies than individuals. Same thing for government. It is COVID time, they want to buy posho and beans for the general public to give them food. What do? They make an announcement. and so people submit their bids, and they are supposed to be companies. So if you
Mm.
intend to play in the big leagues, consider registering a company.
Yeah.
That's if you intend to supply big companies, you know, and supply government.
Yeah.
You're growing cotton, you're growing, you know, there's some products that you may not benefit from if you do small scale,
Yeah.
like cotton,
Yeah.
coffee,
Canes.
sugar canes,
Yeah.
even this cocoa sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes, so you may find that even sometimes this maize that we grow,
Mm.
you can't, you know, it's easier for you to make more money if you go large scale.
Yeah.
And yes, so if you grow some of those products, you need to register a company.
Yeah.
If you intend to import or export, it's a little bit easier
Yeah.
if you are as a company, because there are more benefits,
Yeah.
and it is easier to trade that way than as, you know, a business name.
Yeah.
Like, who knows a business name? Like, it's a little bit complicated, but
Yeah.
please, if you intend to play in the big leagues,
Yeah.
choose a company.
Okay. So, dear viewers, I think you've heard that. I don't know if at all you know that your business is registered or not. You could be there and you're not aware whether your name, your business, your company is registered. How can they know that? Do they go to a particular portal, check?
Brilliant, because I've had people that be saying that, yeah, I registered my company, and until it's like, can I have a look at the paperwork?
Mm-hmm.
Only to realize that it's a business name.
Yeah.
Now, you don't know who was fooling who. Is it the person you paid money to register for you that fooled you that they're registering a company?
Yeah.
And they're riding on your ignorance that
Yeah.
they charged you as much money for a company but registered something smaller?
Yeah.
Or it is you that gave them little money and told them to register the least expensive vehicle?
Yeah.
How do you know? Well, every business that is formal and is registered with the Uganda Registration of Services Bureau
Mm-hmm.
has what we call a business registration number,
Okay.
BRN.
Yeah.
And I think it has something like 0800 something.
Yeah.
Now, I have an account with the RSP.
Mm-hmm.
Most lawyers do.
Yeah.
You may not as an individual.
Yeah.
I don't think you need it,
Yeah.
but yes. But there is a new requirement legally that started, I think, last year.
Mm-hmm.
I can't trace when it started,
Mm.
but I think it starts from the time that URSB went online. Because previously, in 2022,
Yeah.
we used to take the documents there physically.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you go to a bank
Mm-hmm.
and you press, like, you find that thing that you interact with, press tick, and then they ask you, who do you want to talk to, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then there's a voice shouting, la, 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 come here. Go to tell a number this. So we used to sit there for hours just to register a company.
Yeah.
But thank God for technology that now everything is done online.
Yeah.
So, yes. So, now we do things online. So, if you want to confirm, you get in touch with a person, a lawyer, again, who has an account with the RSB.
Mm.
They'll ask you for your business registration name.
Mm.
Once they enter that business registration number,
Yeah.
it's a number,
Yeah.
they're digits.
Yeah.
They enter them, you to bring your details to confirm that it's either a company or a business name.
Yeah.
Plus, every company stroke business name, from the time that your SB went online, has an account. Okay?
Mm.
And I remember the time when they forced so many companies that used to do business the old way to transition from, you know, being analog to being digital.
Yeah.
So every company now that has been registered and business name has an account, and that account has every document that you've ever filed, and it has the details of every person, either, you know, for companies, the directors and members, for business names, the members, the partners, whatever. Every document that has ever been filed, it's there. So once I enter that BRN, I can access those details.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the easiest way of you knowing. The other easy way is looking at the paperwork that your lawyer gave you when they registered for you the company.
Yeah.
If you still have it.
Yeah.
Because these days you do it online, so we have it in digital format. But then they used to be physical. So people that registered their companies in 2010,
Mm.
I don't think they still have their certificates of incorporation or something.
Yeah.
But now we have them on our phones, anywhere. You can
Yeah.
just find it anywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you need a lawyer, dear viewer. Make sure that you get a lawyer. Rogers here is available to help you with all that.
Yeah.
If you don't have someone to help you out, because these things are technical. When I'm thinking about how to grow food agroecologically, I don't want to waste my time into that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Rogers a call, tell him, hey, can we register this? He's gonna go through all that because that's what he knows how to do.
Exactly.
So don't fear the professionals. Get a lawyer on board. Rogers' number is there. His email is there. Please reach out. He'll help you out.